I started my journey in Islam, I started to go for classes. Many people were very supportive, but at the same time, I had a lot of people who were very judgmental, you know. And the thing is, a lot of these judgments came from other Muslims, you know. You're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong, you're not supposed to do this, you're not supposed to do that, aren't you doing this? Did you forget about that? Right? And I'm just like, okay, what is this? You know, I just started wearing the hijab, like, give me a break, you know, can you be more supportive, right? But I think a lot of people go through this thing. And one thing that I find is that, you know, it's sometimes a bit difficult, you know, to absorb a lot of these different comments coming from people. And at the same time, we're learning a lot of, you know, information about Islam from many different teachers, you know. And again, you know, this kind of thing happens where you have different people pointing at each other, judging each other, blaming each other, and a lot of negativity comes out. And, you know, sometimes I did find myself getting confused, you know, but I constantly made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to, you know, keep me on the straight path, to surround me with good teachers, to keep me upon the truth, you know, upon the Quran and the Sunnah, and just to keep me balanced, right? To keep me safe. And alhamdulillah, you know, Allah has presented to me, you know, good teachers, and they all talk about goodness and the beautiful values of Islam, you know, the teachings, the beautiful teachings of Islam, and it unifies us, you know. And alhamdulillah, I think I found the best mentors that I can have right now, alhamdulillah.
The more that I reflect from the ayat of the Quran, the more I learned about how Allah emphasized on being balanced. It is so easy to be sidetracked from the path, and I kept praying that Allah will guide me. Here is an example in one ayat in the Quran that talks about it.
Inshallah, in this halaqah, what I'd like to share with you are some reflections from ayat that belong to the conclusion, near the conclusion of Surah Al-Qasas. Surah Al-Qasas is the 28th surah of the Quran. And here Allah highlights this unique character. His name is Qarun. And there are some things about him that are, I think, really important to understand a balanced lifestyle. So I'll give you a little bit of background about Qarun. Inna Qaruna kana min qawmi Musa. This is how the ayah begins. No doubt Qarun, this man named Qarun, belonged to the nation of Musa alayhi salam. So he's at the time when Moses is still under the rule of the Pharaoh and the Israelites are still slaves, and he's one of the Israelites, okay? But he's basically used to spy on the rest of the Israelites and report back to the Pharaoh. So he's basically a traitor to his own people, and it pays well. You know, selling your own people out pays really well. وَآتَيْنَاهُ مِنَ الْكُنُوزِ, and we gave him all kinds of treasures. مَا إِنَّ مَفَاتِحَهُ لَتَنُؤُ بِالْعُصْبَةِ. Such indescribable treasures that it would take his vaults, the locks of his vaults, and the doors, the gates to his vaults, it would take a group of muscle men to open those gates, and even they would get exhausted. They wouldn't be any good for a few hours after they opened his vaults. And he doesn't have one vault, he has multiple vaults, okay? إِذْ قَالَ لَهُ قَوْمُهُ. Now, imagine this moment, his vault is being opened. He's super wealthy, right? And he's the only wealthy Israelite. Everybody else is what? They're slaves. They're slaves, they live in the ghettos. And he's got his vaults, and all his other, you know, community members are looking at this guy while his muscle men come and open the vault, and he's looking inside, and his face is getting all weird, like a, you know, evil guy looking at his wealth. And so they say to him, "La tafrah, inna Allah la yuhibbul farihin." At that moment, at that very moment, they said to him, "Don't be happy, don't be overjoyed. Allah doesn't love people who get overjoyed." Now people don't understand this ayah. They quote this ayah when somebody's laughing. Somebody's laughing and they're, "La tafrah, inna Allah la yuhibbul farihin." Don't laugh, Allah doesn't like people who get happy. What are you talking about, man? Read the Quran. This was said to a guy who was overjoyed at the sight of his wealth that he made at the expense of people that he was supposed to be loyal to. He's selling people out, and he's happy over haram money that he makes. That's the guy that's being told, don't be overjoyed. Allah doesn't like people who get overjoyed, meaning obviously for the wrong reasons. But then they say to him, وَابْتَغِي فِي مَا أَتَاكَ اللَّهُ الدَّارَ الْآخِرَةِ. Whatever Allah has given you, you should use that to pursue the final home. Now this is important. That means if you have a lot of money, that's not a bad thing. If you have fame, that's not a bad thing. If you have a successful business or a good career, that's not a bad thing. It is a bad thing if you don't use it to build your house in the next life. the things Allah gives us in this life are not evil, they are a means to an end. When they become your end, when all you think about is money, when all you think about is looks, when all you think about is career, when all you think about is these things, then you have lost the next life. For a lot of people, it's dunya versus akhirah. That's not the view of the world in the Quran. But then they say to him, وَلَا تَنْسَ نَصِيبَكَ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا. So awesome. They say, and don't forget your portion in this life. Now let me tell you something here. You have a person that was completely engrossed in the material world. Okay? Completely engrossed. And then they realize that they should be pursuing not this life, but the next life. And so they have a reaction. And now they want to pursue only and only what? The next world. But you know what? You know what that is? That's a pendulum. It was on one extreme, you were completely all about the material world, and now you're swinging the other extreme, you're only about the afterlife, you don't care about this life anymore. So the advice they give him is, look, we want you to pursue the next life, but don't forget the portion, your portion in this life. وَلَا تَنْسَ نَصِيبَكَ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا. Nasib in this ayah means responsibility. Don't forget your responsibilities in this life. You know what that means then? A person becomes super spiritual, right? They're like, I just want to pray, recite Quran, I want to know the word of Allah, and his mother's calling him and he's not calling her back. I don't have time, Ma, reading Quran right now. You know? And his wife doesn't see him anymore. Or she got into the study of the religion and her husband doesn't see that she exists anymore. Her kids miss her and because she's studying Islam. No, wait. You have responsibilities in this world. There are people you owe time and emotional support to. So he says, don't forget the part, your portion in this life. وَلَا تَنْسَ نَصِيبَكَ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا. And if you do that, if you can pursue the next life while not forgetting what you owe in this life, to yourself and to the people around you, your responsibility as a person. If you can find that balance, then وَأَحْسِنْ كَمَا أَحْسَنَ اللَّهُ إِلَيْكَ, and excel like Allah excelled towards you. What is ihsan to Allah? Excellence to Allah is balance. This deen, if it's one thing that describes this entire religion, it is what? It's balance.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made this declaration in the Quran that Muslims are meant to be the middle nation.